Today, I want to help business leaders, particularly energy services company salespeople and CEOs, navigate our politically polarized environment to close energy performance contracts. My name is Jeff Schuster with Mechanics and Mindset Business Coaching. I cover a variety of topics that benefit small business owners and entrepreneurs, particularly those leading in the green energy industry. Now, if this is you, I'd appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. Now, I have two passions, energy conservation and politics. I can see you rolling your eyes right now. Like it or not, we live in a politically polarized environment. I mean, each US presidential election in the past few decades has come down to extremely small margins. Now, many are going to have strong political viewpoints, whether they voice them or not. Now, I'm aware that efficiency, conservation, green energy, carbon neutral, climate change, performance contracting, and renewables all elicit visceral reactions. So if you're on the left, you'll be a staunch advocate of carbon reduction to reduce the impending climate change if we do nothing. If you're on the right, you'll be concerned about economic suicide chasing speculative sources of energy. Now, after walking this political tightrope all of my professional career, I've concluded that you must be politically aware to be effective in a business that advocates for reducing energy consumption. So why am I spending all of this time talking about politics? I mean, I'm a business coach, right? I'm glad you asked. I'm a core energy coach who coaches business owners in green energy. Now, it's important to understand how core energy is at play in selling to customers in this industry. Now, there are 7 levels of core energy, starting from the bottom and working our way up. First of all, there's level 1, which is victim. Level 2 is conflict. Level 3 is acceptance. Level 4 is compassion. Level 5 is opportunity. Level 6 is synergy. And level 7 is total awareness. Now, if you want to learn more about each level of core energy, I recommend that you watch my video entitled, What is Core Energy? Now, political people and political discussions are comprised of almost 100% of level 2 conflict energy. So when you bring up a political topic of any sort, the person on the other side of the discussion is trying to figure out if you are a friend or a foe. We've already discussed the notion that efficiency, conservation, climate change, and renewable energy are all political topics. Therefore, your prospective customers are trying to figure out if you are a friend or if you are a foe. The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, which is authored by Al Ries and Jack Trout, they say that the single most wasteful thing that you can do in marketing is trying to change a mind. Now, this is very true when it comes to political thought in this controversial industry of energy conservation. Now, if I had a chance to coach a politically minded person, I'd have months to shift their core energy level from 1 to 2 or 3, 4, maybe even 5. But you don't have this luxury in a sales and marketing situation. Instead, you have to profile the politics of your customer. Part of creating a political profile of a prospective customer is determining their political affiliation. So first of all, you map out the county, the school district, the college, or the hospital according to which president they voted for in the most recent presidential election. If the area is blue or Democratic, it makes sense that the entity within that area is also blue. Likewise, if red, Republican. Now, if the area is a rural area with an economy that's supported by fossil fuel exploration, like natural gas, coal, or oil, or any of that stuff, you can bet that many of its residents have aligned themselves on the right. Now, especially when it comes to topics related to energy. If the area is urban or has an economy that relies primarily on tourism, many of its residents have aligned themselves on the left. Now, while general area political leanings are important, It's also important to understand the political affiliation of each decision maker that you're going to be talking to. Now, in some cases, your customer may advertise their political affiliation. In some cases, states make party membership of individuals public. I encourage you to use Google or social media to understand the political leanings of key decision makers. Now, once you've done your homework, you'll find that your group of decision makers is one of three political biases. They're either strong left, hard right, or they're in the middle. Now, in order to be strong left or hard right, the board of decision makers must have at least 80% of its members favoring that political leaning. Otherwise, you'll classify that board of decision makers as middle. If the group of decision makers leans left, you'll use terms like climate change or existential threat or global warming, environmental impact, social responsibility, or ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance responsibility, triple bottom line, and other terms that focus on environmental benefits of the energy project that you're proposing. Now, please understand that climate change is not all that those on the political left care about. They care about social good, equity, and many other factors that you can't ignore. Now, if the group of decision makers leans right, you must focus on financial performance of your project. Most on the right are skeptical of energy conservation projects. I mean, they believe that they're being asked to support a project that makes you feel good, but has no real benefit to the organization that they represent. So focus on how your project affects their finances. Now, if there's a net cost of your project, use words that highlight the value and non-financial benefits. And by non-financial, that does not mean reducing global warming. Now, once again, finances isn't all that those on the political right care about. They care about how your project is going to benefit the local economy, the benefits to their local contractors, and following a procurement process that ensures that they're good stewards of their constituents' money. Now, what about middle-leaning boards of decision makers? With left or right-leaning boards, you're trying to identify yourself as a political friend. That's why the pandering language is helpful. In middle boards, there is a completely different dynamic. Most groups that you'll communicate with are middle boards, either because they're a mix of left and right leaning, or their members have tempered any one-sided views that they may have for the benefit of the organization that they represent. Now, not all middle-leaning boards are civil. There are two types of middle boards. There are fighters and there are moderators. In a fighter board, you'll notice friction between members in public board meetings. Trust me, I've been to several board meetings where I thought a fight would break out. Now, if you encounter a fighter board, don't pick a side. It doesn't matter if one side will approve your deal and the other won't. In a middle board, each side seeks to find middle ground to create progress for their institution. Whether your group is a fighter or a moderator board, avoid political pandering in any form. Stay away from words or phrases that elicit political side-taking. State environmental benefits and other benefits with equal weighting. If board members ask politically charged questions, respond with factual and politically neutral answers. Now, what about your politics? We've covered the customer, but what about you? I mean, all of us consider ourselves to be moderate, or at least in the middle. Many people tend to call themselves non-political. Now, in some cases, it may be obvious that we side with conservatives or with liberals. Some will claim that they're fiscally conservative and socially liberal. The fact is that you have political views regardless of how strong those views may be. I would never ask you to compromise your political values. However, it's very important that you're objectively aware of your viewpoints and how they may be biasing judgment of others. Now, in our current political environment, extreme political adherents believe that the other side is ignorant or they're evil. If this is you, you are not the best person to be in front of customers. Like it or not, your prospective customers can do research on you and your company just as easily as you can do research on them. This means that they'll judge you based on your social media posts, company website, and your political party affiliation. Now, in most cases, you won't get the chance to sit in a board meeting if your key decision maker decides that you have political ideals that clash with him, her, or their board. If you lean right, don't take the side of a right-leaning board member in a middle board. Likewise, if you lean left, be sensitive to those who disagree with you. Don't get into political debates. What if you decide, and your company decides, that you want to advocate for the left or the right? Many energy efficiency companies have picked a political side. Picking a side is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you've eliminated 80% of your prospective clientele by making your offering political. You may also have eliminated a large portion of the talent pool of employees that you desperately need. Now, one other key detriment to going political is that some customers won't take you seriously. They may see you as a political activist instead of a technical powerhouse or a company that gets results for them. They may feel that you're pandering to their political sensitivities instead of offering genuine benefit to their organization. So why do politics matter? The key quality that I look for in any high-talent salesperson is empathy. Now, empathy is defined as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Now, political viewpoints reflect how your customers feel. When it comes to selling efficiency, renewables, or performance contracts, politics is an element that can't be avoided. By understanding your customers' political viewpoints, you'll better understand their motivation for buying or not buying your energy efficiency project. Now, something else to understand about political viewpoints. You can't educate your prospective client to a different way of thinking. You can enlighten your customer on the operation of a boiler and why one boiler is better than another. However, you will not be able to convince your client that climate change is real when they believe that it's not. Trying will only create angst. As you know, politics isn't everything. This video was intended to highlight political landmines that may be affecting your ability to connect with your customers. The fact is that most people who have reached a position of leadership within an organization, they can temper their political motivation in favor of the organization that they represent. Now, I mentioned before that politics live at level 2 core energy. I win, you lose. There is one more thing that you need to understand about the level 2 mindset. Now, this conflict level is considered catabolic, which is reactionary. This means that it often emerges as a reaction to the other side. You may be having a perfectly civil conversation with a decision maker, and then you mention the words climate change. Now, if they believe that climate change is a hoax, they'll react at level 2. So, I've talked a lot about politics. What about me? I've been working in the energy efficiency industry all of my professional career, and I've stepped into the landmines just like anyone else. I suppose that's how I learned enough to publish this video. I also mentioned that I am passionate about energy conservation and energy efficiency and politics. So surely I have a political view about energy efficiency. Well, I do. First, I'm registered as unaffiliated. This means that I don't belong to either political party. I tend to see beneficial beliefs on both sides. I also see detrimental beliefs on both sides. I tend to favor liberty, and so I suppose you could call me a libertarian. However, I also believe that government has a substantial and positive role to play in society. Now, as far as climate change goes, I believe that carbon concentrations negatively impact our ability to breathe clean air, and that this is a more and present danger than whether carbon is contributing to the warming of the atmosphere. Now, while I believe the data that the atmosphere is warming, I believe there are multiple causes that aren't all related to carbon levels. I am an engineer, so I tend to look at the data and avoid political rhetoric or popular opinion. I believe that political polarization has prevented us from fully understanding this critical challenge. That said, I'm a staunch environmentalist, and I believe that we must care for our environment to the best of our ability. I believe that responsible extraction and combustion of fossil fuels has a beneficial role to play in our energy needs. I think that nuclear energy should be duly considered. I believe there are pros and cons of renewable energy that often get overlooked with current renewable energy technology due to our political fervor. I believe in only using what you need and no more, which I suppose makes me a conservationist. You can see many political writings that I've made on the internet that have dealt with this topic and many other political topics after I sold my business and I didn't have as much to lose. If I were to have stated these political opinions in my previous role as the owner of an energy services company, I would have been judged unfavorably by both sides. So I hope that this video has given you food for thought as a professional in the politically polarizing industry of energy conservation. Regardless of which political side you reside, efficiency, renewables, energy conservation, and everything that you're doing are very noble professions, and you should be proud of the benefit that you're providing your customers and the world. That's it for my lesson today. I hope you've learned about how to navigate politics in selling energy conservation projects. Once again, my name is Jeff Schuster with Mechanics and Mindset Business Coaching. If you'd like to learn more about how I coach my business owner clients and their employees, please visit my website at www.mmbizcoach.com. So I plan on creating many more insightful lessons and videos just like this one for small business owners, so please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. Until we meet again, I pray that God blesses you and your business.